Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly forecast for October 11th through the 17th. Now, I know that I'm focusing on the 11th through the 17th, but these are energies that are going to be around a while, so they might be more like ongoing themes that are coming up, and you might find this video outside of that time frame. So in general, you're going to find the video when you're meant to find it, when it's time for you to hear the messages, but also this energy is going to be around a while, longer than the 11th through the 17th. So we're going to connect and see what's coming up for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. See what messages are coming in for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the Sagittarius collective. One more shuffle here. Keep in mind these are general readings for the collective, so not every single message will resonate, but take the ones that do and leave the ones that don't. So the first card coming up here, my darlings, is the Nine of Swords. So you might be coming into this energy with anxiety. You may be feeling anxiety. In fact, a lot of the intuitive people that I've spoken with about this current energy, we're under really interesting energy right now, okay? But a lot of the people that I've spoken to about this interesting energy, a lot of the intuitive people I know have been having nightmares, okay, or bad dreams, or just a very uneasy, very unsettling feeling right now. And that's not to say that you have to be scared, or, oh, I'm saying intuitive people are feeling this way, so that means really horrible things are going to happen. I'm not here to put fear in anybody. I'm not here to be like a doomsday preacher, but people feel uneasy because we're coming into a time of change on a whole kind of world level, on a whole global level. We're going to experience change in every aspect of our life, okay? Because it's a part of the awakening and the ascension that we're going through as the human race, okay? So I'm not saying you have to panic or that you have to be in fear, but you might be feeling very unsettling energy right now. A lot of intuitive people are. It's the first card that came up for you. Even if you're not intuitive and even if you're not tapping into the energy, you just might be worried or concerned about other things that have been going on in your life. The Nine of Swords can indicate a period of insomnia. You may be having a hard time sleeping. You may have a lot of fears and worries about the future. You may be seeing things on the news that are freaking you out, right? The worst thing about this is usually when we're in Nine of Swords energy, we're not worrying about ridiculous things. We're worrying about things that could actually happen. So it's very hard. We can't just dismiss the fear and say, oh, come on, that would never happen, because the fears are possible things. But when the Nine of Swords comes up, it's basically a card that comes up to say, we want to be cautious where we're putting our energy, where we're putting our attention, because otherwise we're going to get more of the things we're worrying about. It's like the self-fulfilling prophecy. Like we're focused on it so much that we're calling it into our life. Now, you can't completely and totally turn a blind eye to it either. You can't be like an ostrich with your head in the sand. So the Nine of Swords is about finding the balance. Asking yourself, okay, here are my fears. Here are the things that I'm worried about that could go wrong in my life or that might happen, okay? These are possible things. These things could actually happen. So what are some ways that I can be prepared for that? What are some safety nets that I can put into place in case the things I'm worried about happen? What are some things that I can do to prevent certain things from happening? What are some steps that I can take? What is a plan B that I can have set up in case it happens anyway? You know, maybe even a plan C or a plan D. What can you do? What is in your power? The rest, we have to begin to look at our relationship with higher power, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. You have to come into this time of faith. Preparation meets faith. Here's what I've done. Here's what's in my power. And the rest is not in my power. So God, universe, angels, whoever you want to believe in, whoever you want to call on, this is where I need your help. If there's anything in my plan that can be improved upon, help me to see it. Help me to do it now. If it's in the best and highest good of all involved that my fears don't come true, please prevent these things from happening. But if they must happen, thank you for guiding me and leading me and directing me through them. Thank you for protecting myself and my family and my loved ones. Thank you for helping me make the right decisions as I find myself having to make decisions, you know, as changes come and as things happen. Thank you for guiding me. Remind yourself you are not walking alone. Even if you're somebody who lives alone, you are not walking alone. God, Spirit, universe, angels are always with you. So ask for that direction and ask yourself, what is in my power? What can I do on my end? And the things that you don't have power over are the things you surrender to Spirit. Okay? Nine of Swords also sometimes comes up for me when you're trying to make really big decisions and it's stressing you out and you're not getting enough sleep and you're not getting enough rest. And Spirit is saying, look, you need to get some sleep. You need to get some rest because it's making you super emotional. And when we're super emotional, our brain gets foggy and we can't make good choices. We can't make good decisions. So you're being asked to try to get some rest, to try to get some sleep, to try to relax and, you know, be able to break out of the mental fogginess and the fear-based thinking. Your next card here, Sagittarius, is the Ace of Swords. Now, this is great. This is awesome, especially following the Nine of Swords. This is wonderful to have the Ace of Swords following the Nine of Swords because it's the exact opposite energy. We're coming into opposite energy now. Ace of Swords can be news coming your way, communication, agreement, truth being revealed about a situation, you know, coming to, you know, establishing terms of an agreement. But for me, in my readings, Ace of Swords comes up a lot of the times I've noticed over the years reading for people when you're clearing out mental blocks, when you're clearing out false beliefs and limited thinking, and you're finding solutions where once all you saw were problems. It's switching over into the kind of thinking where you're able to do things more efficiently and make life easier on you and less complicated. Finding ways to work smarter, not harder, when we're in the Ace of Swords energy, right? So we're going from the fear, the anxiety, the struggle, the problems, to clear thought, clear thinking, good decisions. So this is good. You're coming into the shift. So because these are coming in back to back, there's another message that I see in these two cards together to share with you. Now, I think it may have been Capricorn that I said this for. So maybe some of you have a Capricorn placement, or you might be dealing with a Capricorn, going through a similar situation as they are. We have a full moon coming up the week after the time period for this reading. Usually we might pick up on full moon energy about 3 days ahead and 3 days after. Sometimes if it's really intense or if we're really in tune with that specific energy or placement, we might have a more intense reaction, or we may be more intensely affected by the full moon energy, and we could feel it up to a week ahead. And so keep in mind also the full moon is a time of release, when we're going through release. So Sagittarius, I feel that in this full moon that's coming up in the following week is a time that a lot of you are going to be releasing false thoughts, limited thinking, lies that people have told you about yourself, lies that you tell yourself about yourself. I feel like anything mentally that's been blocking you is being released in this full moon energy. So a lot of you may already be feeling those thoughts coming to the surface, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So if you find that happening, maybe you can remind yourself, you know what, it's okay. It feels really intense right now because we're coming up on this full moon and all this stuff is coming to the surface because it's being released. And so I'm just going to process it, and it's just like this wave. It feels intense right now. but it's going to pass and it's going to be gone and I don't have to deal with it. So I feel like a lot of the anxiety and the worry that you're feeling for many of you is connected to the full moon release. The release that you're going to have on this particular full moon having to do with the crown chakra, clearing and opening up your crown chakra. Now, your next card here, Sagittarius, is the Chariot. Okay, Virgo also got the Chariot, so you may have a Virgo placement. You may be dealing with a Virgo, or traditionally, obviously, the Chariot is associated with Cancer. Some of you could be dealing with a Cancer person, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or sometimes even Venus. Now, it's a Major Arcana card, so anytime the Major Arcana cards come up for me in my readings, it tells me you're coming into a really significant new chapter in your life. These are significant turning points. These are significant changes and energy upgrades and moments of growth. So when the Chariot comes up, right, this is about direction. This is about focus. This is about decision making. This is about independence. Okay, choosing your direction and going for it, going in that direction. Some of you could be preparing to travel, and you might have some fears or anxieties around your travel. But the fact that it's coming up as the Major Arcana card also tells us that you're meant to have this experience. You're meant to travel this travel. Now, Chariot, for me, some of you may have heard me say in other YouTube videos that the Chariot always makes me think of the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson when he said, once we make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And so the Chariot is a card that comes up for me for people a lot of the times when they're like, I'm just waiting for Spirit to tell me what to do next. I'm just waiting for that sign. I'm waiting for them to open the door for me to go down. And you might even say, you know, please, Spirit, please, you know, angels, open the door that you want me to go through. Show me what you want me to do. Well, the Chariot, to me, comes up when you're going through a cycle and a lesson of free will. What you're supposed to experience right now is exercising your free will. You making a decision. What does Sagittarius want? And your angels aren't allowed to override that right now. Your angels aren't allowed to dictate that to you right now. They're here to help you and support you in your decisions, in your free will. In this particular situation, your angels are not allowed to override your free will. So what you need to do is tell them which door you want help with. They're like, we're here. We want to help you. We want to open the door, but we can't choose the door. You have to tell us which door. And so there's a sense here of decision making when I see the Chariot card. Okay, some of you might also be feeling kind of frustrated because you're feeling that it's time to make a big change, maybe even a move or leaving a certain area. And you might feel sad because you feel like you're telling other people and they don't want to go with you or they're not taking you seriously. You might be like, you know what, this particular area, the jobs are getting harder to come by. And, you know, like I just kind of feel like the cost of living is going up and like maybe it's a better idea to go somewhere else where expenses won't be as high or housing is not as high or this neighborhood's really gone downhill, it's not very safe or whatever it might be. You might be feeling the need to physically leave a place and you may be trying to convince your friends or your relatives or your family like we should move. And they're like, no, we're not going to move. And you're like, but you feel this overwhelming desire. Like you're like, something's telling me I need to move. And so you might be feeling torn about that. But again, with the Chariot, there's no co-pilot on the Chariot. Some things we're meant to do on our own. And you might even be saying, okay, Spirit, if this is something you want me to do, then please give me the person to do this with. But if you're surrounded by toxic energy, and if you're in a circle of people that have negative energy, you can't be given a person to do this with. Because you're being led or you're being guided to a higher energy. And the people around you aren't doing that. They want to stay in the current energy. So we got to get out of the circle to find our people. So some of you might be feeling like you're kind of going it alone. But the Chariot is saying, don't worry, don't be scared, don't be afraid. In fact, one of the messages of the Chariot is one of the keywords is sanctuary city. And sanctuary city had a different meaning back in the day than it does today. Today we hear sanctuary city and we think of the cities where that particular city says, okay, well, if you don't have documents that, say you came here through the legal process, we're not going to report you. We're not going to go tell anybody. We're not going to get you into trouble. We're just going to ignore it, right? Today, when we hear sanctuary city, that's what we think of. Back in the day, it could have been like to flee people who were after you. Maybe even you made a mistake, or you owed people money, or you accidentally, committed some crime. Back in the day, there were certain cities that if you got to that city, they couldn't come after you. They couldn't take you back to court or back to jail. They couldn't beat you up. They couldn't do anything. They had to leave you alone if you were in that city. And if you were there for whatever the statute of limitations were, once that time was up, you could stay there forever if you wanted. You could go back to your city if you wanted. You could go to another city if you wanted. But nobody could touch you, because it's like you served your time being a good citizen in that other place. And so sometimes it could be like getting to a place of safety. The Chariot could have a message of getting to a place of safety. Now, I'm not saying that you should be scared or terrified and you have to flee where you are. But some of you might be feeling like, you know what, a lot is changing and this isn't the right place for me. And I want to go somewhere where I feel a little bit more safe. I feel a little bit more secure. And so some of you might be making preparations to make some kind of a move. Okay? And for many of you, this could be financially motivated. A lot of people are leaving California, are leaving Los Angeles because of the cost of living. They're not leaving or fleeing because they're terrified that something horrible is going to happen, or, terrified that California is going to fall into the sea. But they're like, you know what, this ain't the place right now. And no offense to any Californians. I am a born and raised Californian. I know I sound like an East Coaster. There's different reasons for that. But I spent the majority of my life in California. And so I'm not bashing California, but I'm just giving an example. That's one of the places that a lot of people are leaving because it is so expensive. And so some of you might be saying, like, it's time to sink or swim here, right? Like, the ship is sinking. What am I throwing overboard to stay afloat? And for some of you, there might be a geographical change that you're preparing for. Now, your next card here, Sagittarius, is the Nine of Wands. And Nine of Wands says you're almost there, right? Mission is almost complete. You're almost there. And you are coming to the completion of this task or this cycle or this period of time. Nine of Wands can also come up when we're really scared about who to trust or who to let in or what decisions to make. And Nine of Wands basically says, let the past be your teacher. This is not your first rodeo. You've survived many difficult things up until now. That's what the Nine of Wands says. Every single one of these sticks is a battle he had to fight. Someone who came at him when he was minding his own business and tried to take him down. And he fought and he took their stick away. He won. He put the stick behind him as this little, trophy, this symbol of his victory. We know he got hurt. He's got that bandage around his head. He's not without injury, but he's still alert. And he's still standing. And he learned from every single one of those opponents. Every single one of those opponents taught him a different way to fight. And so the Nine of Wands says, you're coming here upon the last big push. And there's nothing new under the sun anybody can come at you with. Every lie, every manipulation, every dirty little trick, you've seen it. You've been through it. And as long as you're allowing yourself to be alert and paying attention and not ignoring red flags, you're not going to make bad decisions. Allow your experience to be your guide. Allow your experiences to teach you, to open your eyes. And pay attention anytime you're dealing with someone or a situation and you're like, yeah, that really reminds me of this one job I used to have, or, this person really reminds me of that one ex or my cousin or that one coworker or whatever. When this is happening, It's not you being judgmental. Your intuition is picking up on the energy, and it's making a little mental connection in your brain that this is the same energy as this other experience that you once had. So guess what, Sagittarius? We already learned this lesson. We already did this lesson before. We don't have to repeat it again with this person. That's what's going on when you're reminded like that. It's your intuition, your higher self trying to keep you from having to go through the same lesson more than once. You already know what this person is like. So pay attention to that. Take note of that. It's not you being judgmental. It's your intuition saying, I recognize this energy. And I remember the lessons I had to learn the last time I felt this energy. So you know what? I'm good. I don't need to repeat that lesson again. I don't need to get involved with this person. I don't have to accept this opportunity. And then you can be confident with the decisions that you're making. You may want to check out your moon, sun, and rising sign videos. Some weeks are going to resonate with you more than others. You may need a private reading, which might be very helpful for you. You can schedule at calendly.com/amethystangelite. That's linked in the description. As well as if anybody wants to send a tip or a donation. Some people have asked me, so I've included a link for doing that if you feel moved to do that. Don't forget to check out the love readings for the month of October. Those are linked in the description as well. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Be well, my dears. Take care.